Hello there, very good evening. Welcome to another edition of Primetime News on TV1. I'm Charlene Benedict for the News First team.
And I'm Mariam Gunavijaya. Before we head on to our stories in detail, here's a look at your headlines for tonight.
Sri Lanka to bring new laws for online safety. Communication of false and spiteful statements online to be made an offence. SLPP responds to the Channel 4 video.
මුස්ලිම් අන්තවාදී 9 දෙනෙක් මරාගෙන පැරණ ප්‍රහාරයක් එල්ල කරයිද දකුණේ සිංහල බෞද්ධ නායකයෙක් ජනාධිපති වෙන්න. එහෙම අසනීපයක් තියෙනවද? ඒ අන්තවාදීන්ගේ මොලේ හොඳ නැත්.
Parliament heats up over Easter attacks revelations.
ඒ සිද්ධියෙන් පස්සේ කාදිනල් උන්නාන්සේ උදේ පාන්දර ගිහිලා ඡන්ද දෙන්න ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂට කියලා කිව්වේ මූණේ අත ගහගෙන අඬ මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් මතවාදයක් ගොඩ නැගුවේ මේ විදියට වැඩ කරන්න කියපුවා මේ ඉලෙක්ෂන් කැම්පේන් එකේ කොටස්කාර වෙන්න ඕනේ එහෙමනම් මේකට ඉන්ටර්නැෂනල් ඉන්වෙස්ටිගේෂන් එකක් අවශ්‍යයි මේකට ජාත්‍යන්තර පරීක්ෂණයක් අවශ්‍යයි මම කියනවා කාදිනල් තුමාට අදහස කරන්න එපයි කියලා
CEB requests PUCSL adjust costs, citing an increase in expenditure. Supreme Court determines that a simple majority is required to pass the Inland Revenue Amendment Bill. MTV Channel Private Limited will bring live action from the Rugby World Cup.
In your stories in detail now, the Sri Lankan government is preparing to introduce new laws that would make it an offence to communicate false information online and to incite riots through such false information.
The relevant draft bill for these new laws had been drafted and the cabinet had granted its approval to publish the draft bill via Gazette and produce it to the parliament for approval.
The Department of Government Information said that the draft bill approved by the Cabinet of Ministers on Monday is titled the Draft Bill on the Security of Online Methods. The draft bill was produced by the Minister of Public Security and details offences that are carried out via online methods. The following actions have been interpreted as offences in the draft bill.
Communication of false statements on the incidents within Sri Lanka. False statements causing defamation. Pave way for riots by provocation without reason. Disturbing a religious assembly through false statements. Communication of false statements with the sole intention of hurting religious emotions. Communication of false statements with the sole intention for the abomination of religious emotions. Fraud. Cheating by impersonation. Defaming intentionally by a false statement with the objective of violating peace. Circulation of false statements with the intention of causing a riot or an offence against the government. Communication of statements on incidents to cause harassment. Child abuse. Production of bots or modifying them for causing an offence.
මේකේ කෙටුම්පත රජයේ ගැසට් පත්‍රයේ පළ කරනවා. එහි අනුමැතිය ලැබීමට පසු මෙය
The Cabinet of Ministers approved the resolution furnished by the Minister of Public Security to publish the above draft bill in the Government Gazette and subsequently submit the same to Parliament for its concurrence. Thereafter, a commission will be established as per the provisions of the bill to allow the innocent and unarmed members of the public to seek relief via legal option for these offences. This will not impact the accurate and non-insightful comments.
අසත්‍ය නොවන ද්වේෂ සහගත නොවන ප්‍රකාශන සඳහා කිසිම බලපෑමක් මෙයින් සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
Sri Lanka's cabinet granted approval to publish via Gazette the draft bill to introduce the Anti-Terrorism Act that was prepared after considering the proposals that were put forward and to submit the same to Parliament. The first draft caught strong opposition as it contained provisions to determine the reportage by the media as an act of terror and to impose penalties. Considering all the views and proposals submitted, action have been taken to prepare a new drafts bill by the legal draftsman by revising the original draft bill which was published in Government Gazette. Clearance of the Attorney General has been granted to the said new draft bill. Therefore, the Cabinet of Ministers granted approval to the resolution.
SLPP lawmaker Mahindananda Alutgamage said that there was no need to orchestrate the Easter attacks for the Rajapaksas to come to power.
He was speaking in response to the program that is scheduled to be broadcast on Tuesday night by UK's Channel 4 on the 2019 Easter Sunday attacks.
Channel 4's Dispatches program is scheduled to be broadcast on Tuesday night UK time, and a trailer of the program was released ahead of the premiere. Claims made by Hanzir Azad Maulana, who at one time was the spokesperson and finance secretary of present Sri Lankan State Minister Sivanesathure Chandrakanthan, and an unnamed senior government official are included in the trailer of the program by Channel 4's Dispatches. Hanzir Azad Maulana alleges complicity by the Rajapaksa family in the Easter Sunday terror attacks. In the trailer, Hanzir Azad Maulana said that he set up a 2018 meeting between a senior military intelligence official Suresh Saleh and Islamic State-affiliated bombers to hatch a plot to destabilize Sri Lanka and facilitate the Rajapaksa's return to power.
හැමදාම එක්සත් ජාතීන්ගේ මානව හිමිකම් සැසිවාරයේ ඔන්න මෙන්න තියලා වීඩියෝ එකක් එළියට දානවා.
A video usually surfaces ahead of the United Nations Human Rights Council session. The person who makes the allegation is Hanzir Azad Maulana. The person served as the media secretary of MP Sivanesathure Chandrakanthan. He is currently seeking asylum in Switzerland. This person had over 70 million rupees deposited in his Bank of Ceylon account from overseas between 2018 and 2020. In addition, he also sold a house for 50 million rupees located on Station Road in Dahiwala. He also sold a vehicle of 14.5 million rupees. This person had so much money, and yet his salary as of 2017 was 6,000 rupees.
මේ මවුලාන පිළිමතු රාජපක්ෂවරුන්ට බලයට එන්න රාෂ්ට්‍ර ප්‍රහාර ගේන්න ඕනේ නේ. මං සභාගත කරනවා මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් Department of Justice Office in Public Affairs ඇමරිකාවේ අධිකරණ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව
Multiple fraud complaints have been filed against him with the Sri Lanka police. There was no need to orchestrate these attacks for the Rajapakshas to come to power. I will now table the US Justice Department report on this matter. Channel 4 represents the Tamil diaspora. This is an attempt by them, along with the NGO groups and certain opposition political factions, to steer the country towards the next election. Will 9 Muslim extremists carry out suicide attacks to ensure that a Sinhala Buddhist leader becomes president? Are these extremists insane? All agencies, including the CIA and the FBI, have identified that the Easter attacks took place because of the extremists' needs. Therefore, at a time when the president is to attend the United Nations sessions on the 11th, these groups have paid someone to appear in a video. This is an attempt to create tensions in the country. They are trying to establish low-level NGO affairs in the country.
NGO නඩවලට අවශ්‍ය මත රටේ සමාජගත කරන්න හදනවා. මේවා පිටිපස්සේ ඉන්න සියලු තොරතුරු පිටිවද අපේ ඉදිරියට දක්වනවා. දැන් කියනවා සුරේෂ් සලේ කියන අපේ බුද්ධ්‍යංශයේ ප්‍රධානියා ඔහු විසින් මේ පුද්ගලයොත් එක්ක සාකච්ඡා කරා ගන්න.
We will reveal the details behind this in the future. It is said that the intelligence chief Suresh Saleh met with this group. However, he was not even in Sri Lanka at the time and he was overseas. This is a complete lie, and they are trying to instill false allegations to incite the Catholic community in order to secure their votes. The minister in charge of the police said that the investigations are over. The people are aware of who owns Channel 4 and from where they get the funding. Nishant Kandaraja from the CID worked for you during their regime. Now he is seeking asylum. Therefore, the person who is making this allegation is an extremely corrupt individual. The police have uncovered how millions were deposited to his Sampath bank account. The former president was overseas when the incident took place. He was in Singapore and he did not return when asked to. He did not meet with the Security Council. He did nothing with the police. Instead, he let it happen and pointed fingers at others. Gotabaya Rajapaksa served as president for a brief period. However, the economic crisis took place. What I say is every person who worked to chase away Gotabaya Rajapaksa will regret it even before their death. I can say that Gotabaya Rajapaksa is the most honest and non-corrupt leader who has ruled this country.
තමාගේ හිතට එකගව ඒ කනගාටු ප්‍රකාශ කරන්න සිද්ධ වෙයි. මම දැකපු හෘද සාක්ෂියට එකගව. මම දැකපු මෙරට පාලනය කරපු නායකයන්ගේ දූෂිත නැති අවංක නායකයෙක් ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ කියන්නේ.
හොරාට කලින් කෙහෙල් කරන වැටපැන්නා වගේ බොහොම කලබලකාරී තත්ත්වයක් ඇති වෙලා තිබුණා. එතුමා කතා
There was
කරේ
tension when he was speaking. We have repeatedly said that there were masterminds behind the Easter Sunday attacks, and that was a conspiracy that was hatched to secure power. Saleh had questioned this Azad Maulana recently to gather information about whether he had given information to Nalin Bandara, Harin Fernando and the Cardinal. My name was also mentioned, as I had made comments on Saleh. He had also filed a case against me seeking millions in damages. The truth has been revealed. Should we not question Pillayan about this now? Should we not question Saleh about this now? Azad Maulana must be brought back to the country and he should be questioned about this. Instead of doing that, the government MPs are slamming Channel 4.
කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒක කරන එක වෙනුවට ආණ්ඩු පක්ෂයේ මන්ත්‍රීවරු ලව්වා.
Azad Maulana has gone overseas in 2021 or 2022 citing threats against him. Saleh had threatened him to leave the country immediately. Saleh had questioned him whether he had given information to Nalin Bandara, Harin Fernando and the Cardinal. The statements are clear. We have no faith that President Ranil Wickremesinghe can conduct an investigation under a Rajapaksa government. We are aware that Ranil Wickremesinghe's stay in power depends on the needs of the SLPP MPs who remained after Gotabaya Rajapaksa's administration was removed. Therefore, it is clear that Ranil Wickremesinghe's survival depends on the SLPP. Therefore, we do not believe that a proper investigation will take place during the Ranil Wickremesinghe administration to locate the masterminds behind these attacks.
මහත්මයාගේ පැවැත්ම තීන්දුව වෙන්නේ පොහොට්ටුවේ කියන කාරණේ අපි රටම දන්න කාරණයක්. ඒ නිසා රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්මයාගේ පාලන කාලය තුල පාස්කු ප්‍රහාරය පිළිබඳව නිවැරදි පරීක්ෂණයක්.
That is why we are stressing on this. On one hand, we are ashamed that two of our fellow MPs, Manusha Nanayakara and Harin Fernando, who repeatedly stressed on this, are with the government. The matters relating to Azad Maulana were with Harin and Manusha at the time. Today, I wish to ask them about it. The time has come for you to affirm this. The name is clear. Therefore, Harin and Manusha should be able to prove to the President the need for an investigation.
මේ තොරතුරු දැන් ඔබතුමාලාට සනාථ කරන්න අවස්ථාව උදා වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා මේ සම්බන්ධව පරීක්ෂණ පවත්වන්න හරින්ට මනුෂ්‍යර පුළුවන්කම තියෙන්න ඕන ජනාධිපති.
Minister Manusha Nanayakara responded to these claims in Parliament.
ප්‍රධාන ප්‍රශ්නේ ජිනීවා මානව හිමිකම් කවුන්සිලේ රැස් වෙන කාලෙට
I must note that such Channel 4 videos are often released ahead of the UNHRC sessions in Geneva. Take a look at this period. The United Nations General Assembly is to take place soon and the video is released ahead of it. The contents in this video must be examined. Had such a meeting taken place? However, if Gotabaya Rajapaksa was elected, according to the alleged statement made by Suresh Saleh, as quoted by this Maulavi, or whatever his name is, it is also disappointing to note that the Cardinal who told to vote for Gotabaya Rajapaksa, as well as those who wept, are also stakeholders of that election campaign. That is my personal view.
ඔය අඬපු අය මේ විදියට වැඩ කරන්න කියපු අය මේ ඉලෙක්ෂන් කැම්පේන් එකේ කොටස්කාරයෝ වෙන්න ඕනේ එහෙමනම්. මේ පදනමෙන් යනවනම් ඒක මගේ පුද්ගලික මතය. හැබැයි ලැජ්ජයි ගරු කතානායකතුමනි.
It is shameful to note that an overseas media investigation is informing the local authorities to trace the masterminds of the Easter attacks. Do we need international advice for this? Don't the rulers have any form of sensitivity to trace the truth? It does not matter to me if the Cardinal told to vote against me. If such a statement was made, it was made in pain. The Catholic community still suffers from that pain.
එහෙම කිව්වනම් ඒ කිව්වේ හිතේ තිබුණු වේදනාවට කතෝලික ප්‍රජාවගේ අදගත වේදනාව තියෙනවා. හැමදාම නෑ නෑ නෑ. මේ එහෙම නතර කරන්න බෑ. එහෙම නතර කරන්න බෑ. නෑ අවස්ථාව වෙන්න. නෑ අවස්ථාව වෙන්න. අවස්ථාව වෙන්න. මේ පාස්කු ප්‍රහාරයට වගකිව යුතු මහමොල කරුවන්.
I say that the masterminds of these attacks cannot be traced by local investigations. We need an international investigation. We need an international inquiry. Do not insult His Eminence the Cardinal. Do not insult the Catholic community and the priests. These people had the pain to come to power. They used it and shed crocodile tears over the Easter attacks. All of them, including you, have spoken about the Easter attacks on stage. Did you not secure votes from it? Do not insult the Cardinal, the bishops and the Catholic community. We need an international investigation and I wish to know if the government has the courage for that.
වහාම ජාත්‍යන්තර පරීක්ෂණයක් අවශ්‍යයි. ඒ ජාත්‍යන්තර පරීක්ෂණය ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න මේ රජයට කොන්දක් තියෙනවද නැද්ද කියන එක මම අහන්න කැමතියි.
මේ සිංහල කීමනක් තියෙනවා ඌරෝ කැකුල තලන විට හබන් කුකුලන්ට රජමගුල් කියලා.
That is an old Sinhala saying. This is something good for those who always want to discredit the country and the military. There is a 28-minute video by Zaharan and it clearly states why he carried out the attack.
28ක වීඩියෝ එකක් තියෙනවා අගර සභාපතිතුමනි ඒක ඉතා පැහැදිලිව ඔහු කියනවා තමන් කොහොමද මේ ඇයි මේ තමන් ප්‍රහාරය කරන්න කියලා. ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම
Your government came into power promising that those responsible for these attacks would be arrested. If that were done, you would not hear these tales. You failed.
මම ඒක අසාර්ථක වුණා. යහපන් රජයේ කාලේ ඔබතුමාගේ ආණ්ඩුවේ
It was because of the intervention of those within the government of good governance that those who were arrested were later released. That is why we failed to prevent the attack. You must be responsible as well for being in a government of good governance.
ඒක තමයි මම අවස්ථාවක් කියන්නේ.
Minister Manusha Nanayakara told Parliament on Monday that Sri Lanka's cabinet discussed the need to call for an international inquiry on the Easter Sunday attacks if the requirement arises.
However, Cabinet spokesperson Minister Bandula Ganawardena told reporters on Tuesday that the Cabinet did not discuss the 2019 Easter attacks.
අපි රජයක් විදියට වගකීමෙන් කටයුතු කරනවා වගේම
As a government, we operate responsibly. At the cabinet meeting, a decision was reached on the appointment of a Parliament Select Committee, and the announcement will be made in due course. In addition, the cabinet also discussed on seeking international assistance for any investigation when necessary. The government will not take a step back from implementing such measures.
කාර්යකින් පසුබට වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
මේ පිළිබඳ කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයේදී සාකච්ඡාවක් ඇති වුණේ නැහැ.
There was no discussion in cabinet with regard to this matter. However, a parliamentarian had raised a question over the matter in parliament. These are usual things for Sri Lanka when a United Nations Human Rights Council session draws closer.
සමුළු පැවැත්වන්න ආසන්න අවස්ථාවේදී මේවා ලංකාවට පුරුදු දේවල්. චැනල් 9 නාලිකාව මීට පෙරත් මෙවැනි දේ පිළිබඳ රටටත් රටේ කීර්තිනාමයටත් එහි ජනතාවටත් රට බේරගත් රණවිරුවන්ටත් විරුද්ධව විවිධ චෝදනා රාශියක් නගලා තිබෙන බව මුළු රටම දන්නවා.
The country is aware that this channel raised a series of allegations discrediting the country and the war heroes. The relevant parties will provide a clear response to this in parliament.
අද ඒ මතු කරපු ප්‍රශ්නයට
ඔබතුමා කිව්වා ජනාධිපතිවරයා කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයේ ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් කතාබහක් ලක්ුණේ නැහැ කියලා. නමුත් අපි දන්නවා එතුමා ජනාධිපතිවරයා වගේම ආරක්ෂක ඇමතිවරයා. ඉතින් මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් රටේ තියෙන තත්ත්වය පිළිබඳව එතුමා පැහැදිලි කිරීමක් කරේ නැද්ද? ඇත්තටම කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයේ මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලය අවධානය යොමු කරේ නැද්ද? නැත්නම් ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් අවධානයක් යොමු කරලා තියෙනවද මේ වෙනකොට?
කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයේ සාකච්ඡා වෙන්නේ ඊට පෙර ආතුව කාලසටහනක
The cabinet discusses what was included on the agenda at the previous meeting or for separate matters. Such events did not take place yesterday.
එම සිද්ධියක් ඊයේ දිනේදී සිදු වුණේ නැහැ.
The Supreme Court has announced its determination regarding the litigation that led to the delay in the domestic debt optimization program.
Now, according to the determination of the Supreme Court, the Inland Revenue Amendment Bill can be passed in Parliament with a simple majority.
The bill entails a provision to impose a 30% tax of bonds received by pension funds, including ETF and EPF, are not agreed to be reissued as new bonds during the domestic debt optimization process.
As announced by the Governor of the Central Bank on the 29th of June, two proposals were submitted in relation to the optimization of treasury bonds that have obtained pension funds, including the Employees Provident Fund. One step is to reissue the currently issued bonds as new bonds and awards an interest of 12% until 2025 and 9% thereafter. The other proposal was to impose a 30% levy on superannuation funds that do not follow this process. Chaturanga Abesinghe, as a civil citizen, along with the Young Lawyers Association and the United Labour Union, had filed fundamental rights petitions with the Supreme Court stating that the Inland Revenue Amendment Bill that introduces the legal provisions for this purpose violated the Constitution. Their key argument was that the differential treatment of one of the parties who purchased the bonds violated the fundamental right to equal treatment guaranteed by Article 12 of the Constitution. The examination of the petition ended on the 28th of August and steps were taken to postpone the bond reissuance schedule for that day until the 11th of September.
I wish to announce to Parliament that I have received the determination of the Supreme Court in respect of the bill titled Inland Revenue Amendment, which was challenged in the Supreme Court in terms of Article 121(1) of the Constitution. For the reasons provided in the determination, the Supreme Court has held that neither the bill nor any of its provisions is inconsistent with Article 12 of any provisions of the Constitution. Accordingly, the bill can be validly passed by a simple majority of the legislature.
Meanwhile, representatives of the International Monetary Fund are scheduled to visit Sri Lanka on the 15th of September for the review ahead of the release of the second tranche related to the extended fund facility. The cabinet spokesperson stated that the domestic debt optimization process is expected to be completed by October.
අතිගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමා කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයට දැනුම් දුන්නා මේ මාසයේ
The President informed the Cabinet that by the end of this month or next month, that is in September or October, all the necessary work will be done to complete the debt restructuring process, and a lot of effort will be put into it. By then, this will all be over and good times will dawn for the country.
අවසන් වෙලා රටට යහපත් කලක් උදා වෙයි කියලා.
Trade unions and civil organizations approached the Central Bank of Sri Lanka demanding the promised discussion on the impact of the domestic debt optimization process on employee pensions funds, including ETF and EPF.
A letter was handed over demanding the promised discussion with the governor of the central bank during the protest against the ETF issue on the 28th of August.
The decision for the 11th of September on looting the EPF must be abandoned. They should not touch the funds of the working class of this country. If they do not stop it, we will come here the next day with all our working members. This is completely unethical. Nothing like this has been done before during any restructuring process that was carried out in this world. The funds of the people of this country have never been attacked like this before. They are trying to do this without even discussing with trade union representatives. This is a seriously unethical situation.
Former Central Bank Governor Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy told an online forum on Tuesday that law means nothing unless they're implemented effectively.
The new CBSL Act makes it extremely difficult for the central bank to undertake the most invidious form of deficit financing, that is purchasing the government's paper, purchasing treasury bills in the primary auction. That has been made much more difficult, and the new act specifies very special circumstances, exceptional circumstances, like say the pandemic, where the central bank can assist the government by participating in the primary auction, and even that has to be passed by Parliament now. Of course, laws mean nothing unless they are implemented effectively. So it is to be seen whether we implement the Anti-Corruption Act, which is better aligned with the UN Convention on Corruption, whether this law is implemented. We've had 16 IMF programs before the current one. On each of those, on many of them, we did make progress on stabilization, as we have done on this one. But as soon as an election approached, the progress that was made was reversed. We are supposed to be having elections next year. We must not allow the gains that we've made to be reversed through policy slippage. And one thing I must say is, this time around, if we allow elections to distract us from the path of stabilization and recovery and then sustain growth, the crisis that will hit us will be worse than anything that we've had in the past. It will be worse than what we had some 18 months ago. So we should remember that. We need to change the mold whereby economics is not undermined seriously by the electoral calendar. That has to change. If it doesn't, we will lose what we have gained so far, and the consequences will be far worse than we've ever experienced in the past.
The Ceylon Electricity Board has informed the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka of the need for a cost-reflective tariff adjustment, citing that the CEB is already incurring additional costs to generate electricity due to the dry spell that is experienced across Sri Lanka.
The CEB General Manager in a letter to the PUCSL noted that the CEB is already facing a loss of 33 billion rupees due to the tariff reduction, and, as per the present state of affairs, is heading towards a monumental loss. Due to the arid weather conditions prevailing in many parts of Sri Lanka, the production of hydropower has dropped significantly. The Ceylon Electricity Board points out to the Public Utilities Commission that according to the forecast issued by the Met Department on the 7th of August, this situation may last until the month of October. The CEB added that the average gross energy generation per day from the 1st of January to the end of July 2023 was 44.15 gigawatt hours, and the average gross energy generation per day in August increased to 48.16 gigawatt hours. The CEB General Manager pointed out that under such circumstances, the increased demand has to be met from thermal power generation by incurring additional costs. The CEB is requesting the PUCSL to take appropriate action to fulfill the conditions given in the General Policy Guidelines for the electricity industry of the government. CEB General Manager Rohan Senaviratne said the letter was addressed to inform about the CEB's difficulties and not about a tariff hike. He said any decision on a tariff hike must be made by the PUCSL. However, Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijayasekara said on the 6th of August that there will be no revision of electricity tariffs until January 2024.
Even though there are social media claims, there are claims on the media that there is going to be another tariff increase or a revision taking place immediately. The next tariff revision will obviously be taken in January of next year. That is the government policy that we have taken.
However, the CEB is now saying that after the minister made these statements, the rainfall experienced has completely changed. The CEB said that it did not rain as expected in the month of August, and since it will not rain in the months of September and October as well, it had to depend on thermal power generation. 9 international human rights organizations have expressed concern about the Sri Lankan government's proposed National Unity and Reconciliation Commission.
9 international rights organizations, namely Amnesty International, Asian Forum for Human Rights and Development, Franciscans International, Frontline Defenders, Human Rights Watch, International Commission of Jurists, International Federation for Human Rights, International Working Group on Sri Lanka, and the Sri Lanka Campaign have expressed concern about the Sri Lankan government's proposed National Unity and Reconciliation Commission. They added that the latest initiative risks repeating the mistakes of the past, exposing victims to renewed security threats and re-traumatization without any realistic chance of a different outcome. The 9 rights group said that there have not been any genuine confidence-building measures or steps to ensure a safe and conducive environment for such a commission to function effectively. They said that existing domestic transitional justice mechanisms, such as the Office of Missing Persons, are unable to function effectively, and there are ongoing attempts to block prosecutions of crimes under international law. The 9 rights group said that the Sri Lankan government should approach transitional justice as a holistic process that includes truth-seeking, investigation and prosecution of international crimes, and effective remedies such as reparations, redress and guarantees of non-recurrence.
Leader of the Jathika Janabalavege, Anura Kumara Disanayake, visited the Paliagoda Menin market and inquired into the issues faced by the business community there.
Anura Kumara Disanayake met with the Manning Market business community and discussed the hardships they are facing. He then commented to the media.
No matter what Ranil Wickremesinghe does, the election will have to be held. If he thinks that the people's mandate can be pushed aside and that he could move forward like that, he's very much mistaken. Ranil Wickremesinghe's tenure will last 1 year at most. Of course, it will be a big joke if the president could stay in power without holding an election in the country. One cannot call himself president without holding an election.
According to the results of the advanced level examination, 166,938 students have qualified to enter university this year. This is 63.3% of the total candidates who sat for the examination.
Dilsarani Tharashika of Sirimavo Bandaranaike Vidyalaya, Colombo, secured the #1 island rank in the commerce stream with the best results of the 2022 advanced level exam. Manit Banula Pereira of Royal College, Colombo, secured the best results in the physical science stream. Pramudibashani Munasinghe of Sujata Vidyalaya, Matara, secured the best results in the bio stream. Sachini Satsarani from St. Joseph's Girls College, Kegal, secured the best results in the art stream. Samudita Nainapriya of Richmond College, Gaul, secured the best results in the engineering technology stream. Ruchini Ahinsa Vikramaratna of Devi Balika Vidyalaya, Colombo, secured the best results in the technology stream.
We have already made plans for the next advanced level examination to be held in November. Arrangements have been made for conducting the examination from November to December. So far, we have called applications for the 2023 advanced level examination from the 17th to 21st of November. This exam was scheduled to be held in August, but now we have reduced the delay to some extent. We hope to bring this situation back to normal by next year.
Everyone in Sri Lanka is going through a tough time. The hardships faced by Sri Lankans are only aggravated by the drought affecting several parts of Sri Lanka. The farming community in Sri Lanka are the worst affected by the prevailing situation.
Now, Mariam, first it was the fertilizer crisis, then came the fuel crisis. And for years, farmers have not been getting a proper price for their harvests, and now their fields are being devastated due to the lack of water. Understanding the plight of our farmers, Gammadda stepped in to assist in whatever way we can. Gammadda began a program to distribute dry rations to these people in a bid to ease their burden.
Gammadda distributed dry rations to families in 4 districts today. A Gammadda team distributed dry rations to farming communities in several villages in Kuttigala and Bilipitiya in the Ratnapura district. Another Gammadda team went to the Ampara district. They visited farming families in villages including Devalagoda, Thamitivela, Paranagovipula, Pansalgoda and Bogaslanda in Nahugala. Another Gammadda team went to assist farming families in Katuava and Salmalyaya in the Hambantota district.
Divisavya, the second leg of the Divisavya program to provide much needed school books and stationery items to school children in Sri Lanka. 6th of September, Kekirava and Galimbinuvava.
Dai Daruwange Anagate Vinuwin Divisavya, LOLC Prajasatkara Mehevara.
News first with the people.
Sri Lanka took on Afghanistan in the Asia Cup tournament on Tuesday. The match was played at the Gaddafi Stadium in Pakistan. TV1 is the official local broadcaster of the 2023 Asia Cup. All matches are being broadcast live on TV1 and www.sirasatv.lk.
Chance as well. It's all the way for 4 for the anthem. Has played it fine. Oh, nicely. It's 50 end style. What a timely end. He's taken it from the stumps and hit it over. And there have been a couple of mistakes. Nabi to ball is 9, then he picks up a wicket. Again going across the line.
Leg spinner. Gone for 14.
Full toss.
TV1 is the official local broadcaster for the 2023 Asia Cup. MTV Channel Private Limited has also secured the Sri Lanka TV rights for the 2023 Rugby World Cup. And as such, Sri Lankan rugby fans can prepare for 7 weeks of scintillating action.
The matches will be telecast on TV1, Shakti TV and Sirasa TV from the 8th of September to the 28th of October. The tournament will also be streamed live on www.sirasatv.lk. All matches will be played during the evening and night hours in Sri Lankan time, and therefore matches will also be recorded and replayed for our viewers. The main aim behind MTV Channel Private Limited securing the broadcasting rights of this tournament is to bring the action and thrill of the Rugby World Cup to Sri Lankan fans free of charge. The tournament features the world's best 20 teams and is being played in France. It will begin this Friday when hosts France take on the All Blacks of New Zealand. Current Rugby World Champions the Springboks will be taking on Scotland on the 10th of September. In the first round, teams will face off against each other in 4 groups. The top 2 teams from each group will qualify for the quarter-finals of the tournament. New Zealand, France, Italy, Uruguay and Namibia will face off in Group A, while South Africa, Ireland, Scotland, Tonga and Romania will play in Group B. Wales, Australia, Fiji, Georgia and Portugal will play in Group C, while England, Japan, Argentina, Samoa and Chile will face off in Group D.
Which we saw the other day.
This is the 10th edition of the Rugby World Cup that is played once in every 4 years.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News on TV1 for tonight.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Good night.